We've got a good one for you on today. We've got another rainmaker here with us on today. Derek Tate is with us. Let's talk to him. Mr. Tate, Derek is in the house. How you doing, my friend? How's it going for you on today?
Going good, Earl. Thanks. Glad to be here. So appreciate it.
Man, glad to have you. Definitely glad to have you, man. Well, look, it seems like this year has been an interesting year for you, has it not?
Absolutely. Started off the year well, and then some ups and downs, and they go along the way. But we're still here and still going.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, tell us about it. You happen to be one of our clients here at AJC, and tell us some of the things that you were like, going through that kind of sparked you to think, you know what, there's probably a change I need to make here, and I need to figure this thing out.
Yeah. I went full time in the life insurance industry at the beginning of the year. I was part time the year before, a little bit, kind of on and off, and then decided to make the run full time starting January of 2022. And started out pretty good. Had some good weeks in the field. Was doing everything face to face. Traveling a little bit was kind of exciting. It's fun to get away and travel.
Hmm.
Downside is leaving your family for a few days. And then I just kind of started hitting some roadblocks where went on a few trips and came back without much to show for it, and started realizing that there's got to be a little different way to do this. And I was fighting learning the telesales side of things for a while. And the
Mm.
biggest mistake is I wish I would have dove into that earlier. Fortunate enough to have a colleague of mine share with me the Arturo Johnson consulting program, and just kind of dove in head first and never looked back.
Why do you think you were so resistant to the telesales thing? What was going on with that?
I think at first I felt like I was finally finding my groove on the in-home, and things were going well up
Hmm.
until that point where they started to not go so well. And so I was just kind of resistant to change anything because I felt like, okay, I've got this down. I'm doing really well in the home when I'm sitting face to face, building
Hmm.
rapport. And I was kind of scared to change it. But then when I had a few bad weeks in the field, I started thinking, okay,
Mm.
well, now it's going to be the time to maybe we do need to change things. And maybe instead of driving around all day, sometimes for 10, 12 hours a day,
Wow.
isn't the way to do this.
Wow.
So let's try something else.
Yeah, well, you know what they say, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. And I think sometimes it's funny because we revert back to what's comfortable a lot of the times, even though it may not be the best thing for us, but at least it's comfortable, right?
Yep.
But putting yourself in that position of getting uncomfortable, tell me how and why that happened for you.
I was worried that if I didn't change things, that I was going to find my way out of the business pretty quickly. And so, like I said, a good friend of mine, colleague that I work with, he showed me what he was getting ready to start with you guys with AJC, and I jumped on the phone with your guys and kind of figured out what it was that the process, and said, okay, well, let's try this. Let's go all in. And I went straight into telesales and struggled my way through it for the first month or two.
Wow.
I sold a few things, but it was a learning curve. And then I feel like what just really clicked within the last few weeks, the last month or two, is just I just got finally comfortable with it, realizing that
Mm.
I have enough on my calendar that it's going to work out. I'm not stressing about it, and I can just be myself. Most days I'm out here. I work from a home office. This
Hmm.
is an outside office outside of my house here on my property. And most days I sit out here and I call my appointments and I'm relaxed, and I ask them questions, and how can I help you? What is it you're looking to do, and what is it you want a policy to do for you? And we just go down that road together and figure out if anything makes sense.
Yeah, it sounds like you've gotten into your groove. You talk about asking, basically appropriate questions and things of that nature. How comfortable have you gotten with like that whole sales process? Because it's apparently different from what you were doing before. So, how comfortable do you feel you are and are getting with just kind of chilling out?
Extremely comfortable. Most days, honestly, I'm kicked back in my chair, fiddling with my pen. I'm just not stressed about the outcome of every phone call. And the outcome of, I know that the no-show rate is what it's going to be, especially when working on the phones.
Hmm.
But that doesn't mean that I can't get them back on the phone or reschedule them. And I've got enough on my books that I'm not stressed about it. I'm very relaxed talking to everybody. And if I can help them, great. If I can't, if it's just not something that's in the cards, then I don't worry about it. And I just move on to the next person and try to serve them the best way I can. It's gotten really comfortable. And that's what I think I love the most about how I've been doing business lately.
Yeah, kind of go a little bit deeper into that. You were talking about you're comfortable with the no-show rate. I don't know how many agents can say that, right? It's like you're comfortable with the no-show rate. Tell us how you kind of internalize that or mentally think about that no-show rate and kind of having a fixed number, basically, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, I just automatically know that, if I've got 20 appointments on my books for the day, and some days I do, today's a pretty stacked day. I know that, there's a good chance that even up to half of them aren't going to answer the phone.
Hmm.
Or they might text me and reschedule. I have a lot of automation set up. So sometimes they'll get a reminder text message 30 minutes before appointment. Sometimes they'll just shoot me back, hey, I'm sorry, it's not going to work today. And I'll go
Hmm.
back and forth and I'll just reschedule them. So I'm just not stressed about the number of no shows. And the thing I look at it too is they said yes once to wanting
Yeah,
this information
right.
and to talking with me. So I might get them back on the phone in a day or two and be able to reschedule with them for another time. Maybe just something happened. I know that there's things in my life that I schedule and something pops up
Of
with the
course.
kids, the wife, anything.
There it
And
is.
sometimes you have to reschedule it. I don't take it as a personal slap in the face if somebody doesn't answer the phone.
Yeah, I think a lot of agents
When we
they
have,
don't think about that. It's like you have no idea what's going on that other side of the phone, right? What could have just happened? Kid spilt milk, or whatever. Somebody got into an accident, or something like that. And I think, or do you think we have a tendency to take that personal?
absolutely, absolutely. I used to take it very personal for a long time doing this. But I think it was because I was stressed because my schedule wasn't full enough. Some days it was, but then other days it wasn't. And so you start feeling that pressure of I need to make something happen. And
Hmm.
now I've learned that if I just stay calm and I just trust that I know that no matter what, things will work out in the end and we'll get there. Um, you just kind of take it how it goes and do what you can.
Yeah. When did you get started in life insurance again?
So officially got licensed, I believe it was February of 2021.
Wow.
And I was part-time for a few months and then sold my house and moved. So went through all that. So I kind of went toe in the water for a little bit.
Mm.
I worked for a week or two and then would take a week or so off, and it was back and forth, which we know in this industry, you
Yeah.
can't. You got to be consistent. You got to be consistent. So I knew going into January 2022 that my wife and I had said, okay, we're settled in our new house. We got things going on. Like I'm going full time. So I've been full time since January. So,
Wow. What would you go back and tell yourself, that guy that started back in 2021? What are the things that you would want to communicate to that brand new agent that now today are like non-negotiable?
one, don't be scared to diversify. I wish I would have learned the telesales game sooner
Mm.
because it opens up a lot more freedom. I won't take away going out in the field in the beginning because I feel like it's really where I kind of learn the basics.
Hmm.
But doing a little bit of both earlier on and trying to close some people over the phone and setting up some phone appointments, I wish I would have done. Um, and then just learning it's hard to, it's easy to say it, but hard to do is
Hmm.
just not taking things personal. It's a very big up and down roller coaster game. When you're doing great, you're on a high, and then the next week, um, sometimes things aren't going
Yeah.
very well. I'll be transparent. The last 2 weeks in the business have been my best weeks ever.
Wow.
I almost back to back, submitted over 16,000 2 weeks in a row.
Awesome,
But
man.
to be
Yeah, I
honest,
need the buzzer for that. Yeah.
yeah. The great thing is I submitted applications for 13 families both weeks, each week 13. And
That's amazing.
how this works is obviously those are submit numbers. Not everything is going to get processed and go through. A couple of
Hmm.
them I already know have gotten denied, and now I'm trying to rework them to see if I can get them approved somewhere else and see what happens with those. But to be transparent, the last couple of days, I've actually I haven't wrote anything. I wrote one this morning that got denied automatically, so I'm reworking that. But Oh, the last couple of days I haven't read anything. So it's an up and down, but I look at it as like, hey, I just had these 2 great weeks. I'm not gonna ride this wave down for very
Yeah.
long, and I'm not gonna let it affect me emotionally because I know my calendar is full the rest of the afternoon, and the next 2 days my calendar is already pretty full. So it all works out if you just stay consistent.
I mean, talking about that whole mindset thing, having the up weeks, the down weeks, whatever that comes into play, how do you deal with that? Or what are the things that you do maybe to get through those moments that we know we all face?
Um, I think having good support, if you're married, and
Mm,
having a spouse that understands. I think for a while it was feeling a little bit of stress coming from income coming in on those weeks. Now my wife, she totally understands. I've got her more involved over the last few months in the business. She knows kind of how this works and the ups and downs. So
yeah.
I'm not feeling the any stress coming for her because she understands how this goes now, and that there's going to be great days and great weeks, and there's going to be days that aren't so good. Um, I feel like just time and experience, you finally kind of just clicks where you just
Mm,
realize that it all just kind of comes together. It's hard to say just a new agent coming on board right off the bat. They might come in and blow it out of the water, but then they're gonna go on that downslope of that roller coaster and maybe not realize that that's going to keep happening and how to stay level. It took me some time to figure that out.
yeah. I mean, I know having that support system in a spouse is extremely important. With that. And I think it all comes down to you've got to be a good communicator with that spouse or their partner, right? It's like you've got to let them know what's going on because if one week you got 10K in the bank and next week you got three, all of a sudden that can develop some sort of tension in a home. But just having that communication to really fill them in on what's actually going on in the business and how the business works. I mean, just look at how long it takes us to figure out how the business works, right? So they're not going to get it,
Yeah.
right out of the gate with that. When you started, almost 2 years ago, at this point now, had you always been with the agency with, like, were you ever captive before, or kind of tell us what that road has been like for you?
No, I've always been with the agency I was with.
Hmm.
I'm with Family First Life.
Awesome.
I never expected to be in the insurance world at all. I just kind of fell into it. I was been self-employed most of my life, on and
Hmm.
off, and I was actually working at the VA as a federal employee for the last handful of years before I left there
Wow.
to go full time. I was looking for a way out. I tell everybody, honestly, I was ready to grab my lawnmower and weed eater and start mowing lawns just to get out of the 9 to 5. And my wife was on board with it.
Hmm.
We were literally just ready to just live life on our terms again. And I saw a post on Facebook. I honestly don't even remember who posted it or what group it
Wow.
was in. Somebody talking about life insurance. I went down the rabbit hole of YouTube like everybody else
Of
does,
course.
and came across Ron Miller, who's on one of the upline in the organization I'm with,
Yeah.
and I knew that he had switched companies and come over to Family First Life. I knew he was with another company before, and he was their top salesperson for 7 years in a row,
Wow.
and we've been connected on Facebook for like, I don't know, probably 10 years because we just had a lot of mutual friends in the Austin, Texas area, and so I reached out to him and just said, hey, can you tell me what's going on here? What is this? And explain how this works, because the thing that I loved when I saw it was this is a lead based industry, at least
Hmm.
how this company works.
Hmm.
And so I can call people that filled out information, and I'm not just having to beg my friends and family to buy life insurance for me. Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
it means more to me when I help my friends and family, but I'm not just shoving it down their throat and calling everybody in my phone book.
Oh yeah, it's
I
like how
work
many
off
aunts and
off a
uncles
lead
do you
system.
have? You know what I mean? It's like you run through that real quick. Have you gotten to
Yeah.
the part where or the stage where you're getting more into the recruiting end of this, or where are you with that?
I'm at the point where I want to start recruiting now. I have a couple people in my downline, but I'm ready to start recruiting and start building an agency. Before, I feel like I was more interested in just kind of figuring out my own sales and my
Sure,
my own game first.
rightly so.
And I'm not looking to necessarily mass recruit at this moment. I want to take on a couple people at a time. so I can really spend the time and teach them and
Hmm.
show them what one I have with AJC. I think that's the biggest game changer. It's made the biggest difference since end of April since I joined the program.
Wow, that's amazing. Like if someone wanted to get in touch with you to join your team, how would they do that? Like if they were interested in saying, "Hey, I like this guy, Derek. Yeah, I want to reach out to him." How would they do that?
Best way, my cell phone, 512 They can call me, leave me a message. I'm usually on the phone, so I don't answer,
Yeah.
or they can obviously send me a text. I tell even my clients that I help, I say, hey, leave me a message because I'm on the phone all day, but I will call you back as soon as I get it. So,
What are you looking for in someone that you would actually want to bring onto your team? What is it that they need to bring to the table?
I am willing to take on some people that aren't licensed yet and
Hmm.
show them the ropes and how to start this industry the right way because I've learned a lot over the last almost 2 years. I would love to work with a seasoned agent that's maybe not happy where they're currently at and has
Hmm.
some experience so they can come on and help me because I'm getting to the point where I'm almost too busy and I'm having a hard time keeping up with what I have in my pipeline. And so a seasoned agent would be amazing right now. That's really what I'm looking for the most is one or two seasoned agents that's already licensed that can come in and we work hand in hand with a lot of what I've already got in place.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, man, Derek, I want to thank you for just spending this time with me here today and just telling us your story, man, and how you've been able to do what you've been able to do since you just started in the business last year, and now look at you. So I know you got some phones to hit today, man, but I just wanted to definitely thank you for being here with me today, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. And to you, the viewing audience, thank you for being here and watching the Rainmaker podcast from AJC. And look, we're going to see you on the next broadcast. Until then, you take care.